What's up, guys? You are listening to the HatzChat podcast, where I, HatzMania, will be discussing different Yu-Gi-Oh topics every week. And this week, we're going to be talking about, will Elemental Hero Stratos come back? Now, there's been a lot of buzz about this card coming back in recent months about whether or not heroes can really, or any other deck in general, can really benefit off of Stratos, and whether or not it deserves to come back or it should come back. Now, before we get into the nitty-gritty of why it should or should not, let's look at Stratos' stats. It's a level 4 wind monster, warrior, 1800 attack, 300 defense. Right there, it's okay. It's not great, but its effect is why people want it back. When this card is normal or special summon, you can activate one of these effects. You can destroy spell or trap cards on the field up to the number of hero monsters you control, except this card, or add one hero monster from your deck to your hand. Now, this card was banned for multiple reasons. Actually, it was emergency limited when it first came out, just because it's such a degenerate card when it is at 3. But it was originally used in Heroes because it provides more searching power to all heroes, not just Elemental, the core hero strategy. It also had searching for Destiny heroes and other decks as well. Also gave them access to Elemental Hero Great Tornado and Masked Hero Divine Wind, which are both pretty decent cards. Great Tornado lowers all opponents' monsters' attacks, which is a non-targeting effect. And that can be very useful right now, especially since Konami's on a creative binge where they're making a lot of high attack power monsters. And making those monsters kind of like being the focal point of the deck to get out. Cosmos, that would be Dark Destroyer. For Monarchs, that would be either Aether or Erebus. And then for Pepe, it would most likely be Ignister or some other card. And then Divine Wind is actually a pretty decent card as well. It limits opponent's ability to attack. If you don't know it, it makes your opponent choose one monster to attack with every single turn. And it also gives you draw power whenever it destroys a monster by battle. Both these work actually pretty well together, so that could be a little bit disastrous if Stratos were to come back. It's definitely possible where you can get both the cards out at the same time and really use both of their effects to bounce back between each other. More notably, this card was used in Tele-DAD, one of the strongest decks of all time. It was abused by the Destiny Hero archetype and Dark Armed Dragon as well, which was a degenerate card all in itself because it was able to pop multiple things per turn. So now that we have the brief history of Stratos over with, here's some points as to why Stratos shouldn't come back. It hasn't or can't come back. It hasn't had any reprints in years. Konami is co-money. They like making money. And yes, while they could make money off the idea that if Stratos came back, yes, they could reprint it and that'd be great. We haven't seen any reprints in forever. Even like E-Tele has had more reprints in 3 years than Stratos has since it came out. And E-Tele's been a very degenerate card regardless. But since then, like in the past year, in the past 6 months, we've had 2 reprints or confirmed reprints for Emergency Teleport. And right there, that's a lot. It's been almost a year since the last Hero Support was released. I can't actually remember if the Structure Deck or Masked Hero Enki came out last. Enki came out on the gold set, and the Masked Hero Structure Deck came out in January of 2015. And a lot of the support was actually really, really good for the hero archetype. It gave them a new, refreshing taste while still keeping true to the style of the deck, albeit they're giving it a different look in terms of Masked Hero, Dark Law, etc. But nonetheless, they still have gotten a lot of rather recent support since here in the past year. Heroes are actually still relevant because of this as well in the meta today. Right now, a lot of players are ranking this deck in the top 10 decks, maybe top 6, top 5 in contention with Infernoids just because of Dark Law and the fact that they still do have a lot of searchability. Heroes also made top 8 last year at Worlds without Stratos. And right there, that just shows how powerful and consistent Heroes can be. And how much of a surprise factor the deck also has. The card Stratos is also very similar and arguably better than Performapal Skullcrabat Joker, which was just limited last week. Skullcrabat Joker only gets its effect when it's normal summon, and it has no back row destruction effect either, and it was emergency limited just because it was just used so often in the Pepe tier 0 deck. And Stratos is arguably better because it gets its effect when it's normal summoned and special summoned, and it also has a back row destruction effect, albeit it can only activate either or, but still it can do more than Perform Pal Skullcrab Joker. Joker is also a pendulum monster, and it can be used as a pendulum scale, and its pendulum scale's actually effect is not that good. It can actually limit what you can do. So right there, like Stratos you can make a very good argument that Stratos is a better card than Joker, and it's Joker's limited. The archetype itself, Heroes, has a lot of search cards and a lot of draw power anyway that's legal right now, including Emergency Call, Shadow Mist, which can get you 2 different types of searches, Reinforcement of the Army, which is just generic warrior searching, and Stratos is a warrior, Bubble Man, which can get you draw power, Divine Wind, which would become a problem if Stratos came back, because as stated before, it has that draw power. Masked Hero Anki, which can get you the mass change spells, and Masked Hero Diane, which can special summon out a hero monster straight from the deck. They also have a hero Lives, which again straights out special summons. They just have a lot of searchability that's just ridiculous. It's also good rank 4 fodder. The hero deck is notable for running cards like Summoner Monk and Tin Goldfish, with straight out special summons monsters from the hand or the deck, and that can get you into the generic rank 4 plays, which are still really powerful regardless of cards like Exiton and Lavalval Chain being banned, which like people are making the argument can come back at some point in the future. And the fact that Stratos is a level 4 and not something like a level 3 or something like that just makes it even more just kind of ridiculous in the meta today, the fact that rank 4s are still kind of a threat. But here on the flip side, we have Stratos points for Stratos that for coming back. Heroes have not topped much since Worlds. Yes, there have been a couple times where heroes have made top 32 at regionals, etc. In the past couple months, but in general, Cosmos, Monarchs, and Pepe, and any other devolution or evolution of Pepe since the adjusted ban list, heroes really haven't been seeing a lot of play in the top 32, top whatever. And since they made top 8, and that could be a point for Stratos to come back. Maybe they can come back and maybe beat out Burning Abyss in top 4, maybe even beat out New Performa Pals for top 3. So the fact that they could actually change up the meta a little bit might be something for them. There's also a new Wind Masked Hero called Masked Hero Blast that was released in the OCG last year, but it hasn't had any confirmed TCG released as of yet. Now, this was kind of similar to the Enki situation, Masked Hero Enki, which is a Dark Masked Hero monster. It was released in the Gold Series set last year, and they did have an OCG release before they released it in the TCG as a gold card. And the fact that we are having another premium gold set coming out, and we typically get a hero card in a Gold Series set, like this would just follow the pattern if Masked Hero Blast were to be in that set along with Stratos. Konami's also been abnormally good about managing reprint spoilers in new sets recently, specifically TCG exclusive and releases. Only 3 spoilers so far were released for Premium Gold 3, which goes back to the previous point. And that set's due to release in the next month. We also had a lot of question marks about Wing Raiders. A lot of people thought that Daigusto Emerald was going to finally get another reprint in that set, but nothing for that. And there was a lot of speculation about what reprints we would actually get up until only a couple days of when the full set was actually spoiled. Recently as well, Rhoda was limited, which actually severely damages a lot of warrior-based decks, including heroes. Yes, they still have E-Call, but the fact that Rhoda was limited, which is also similar to the OCG, can actually help with the fact that Stratos could be coming back and be like, oh, you have Rhoda at 1 now, well, let's just help one of the warrior decks that's out there. We also don't have a lot of warrior decks that are really coming out in the near future, so I don't think it would bother Konami too much to bring back Stratos in terms of boosting one warrior deck versus a ton by giving Rhoda back at 3 at some point in the future, which I really don't see happening. And again, this is also very similar to the OCG. If you don't know the OCG ban list, limited list, etc., they have Rhoda at 1. I believe they have Bubble Man at 1, and they also have Stratos at 1. And while we don't have Bubble Man at 1, we do have Rhoda at 1, and this could be the calling card for Stratos to come back. There's also a lot more effect negation than back when Stratos was legal, back during Tele-DAD days, Perfect Circle, etc. Specifically cards like Solemn Strike, Effect Veiler. We also have Fiendish Chain, which it really isn't played anymore because it is targeting as well as Breakthrough Skill, but still, people do play them, especially in Infernoise. Infernoise play in Breakthrough Skill. which can be pretty useful. More cards have been coming off the ban list recently, including a lot of errata fodder. Konami's been errating a lot of cards that come off the ban list. A lot of people are thinking that DMOC might be coming off as well, just simply because it has been errated like 2 or 3 times, I think. And it really won't see a lot of play, just simply because a lot of pendulum decks, which was the fear that DMOC could actually help abuse, really don't have scales higher than 8, and DMOC is a level 8. So that's not really, but that's kind of off topic regardless. Stratos could, like, the fact that it does have the opportunity to be errated, to be changed a little bit, and to be effectively changed. And yes, we wouldn't technically not be getting back the same card, but all the same, it is possible errata fodder just to make the Yu-Gi-Oh community happy, which Konami, admittedly, has not been doing a good job of recently. Finally, it's a when effect, and this is like kind of like a kind of a dart just thrown out there. Just when effects really aren't that good anymore. The last deck that was really centered about when effects was Yang Zings, and they were easily disruptible against like decks that weren't even relevant, such as Volcanics, and as well as other things, just because you could like either outpace them or for any other reason you could just disrupt their plays over and over again. And the fact that Stratos is a when effect and not an if effect, you can actually disrupt it, and it could make cards in heroes not really as useful, such as Goblinberg. Goblinberg has seen some play, and the fact that in hero decks, just simply because you can help them go into rank 4s, but Goblinberg would no longer see play, I would think, in heroes, just simply because Stratos is a when effect, in that it could disrupt the card, similarly to how Armageddon Knight would also be disrupted if you were to summon it through Goblinberg as well. If you don't know that ruling, look it up, because it is actually very important to a lot of decks and prevents Arm Knight plays from actually going off, as well as some other things. But the fact that it is disruptible because it is a when effect is a point for Stratos in the fact that it could come back. So at the end of this video, now that you guys have listened to me rant about this card, please leave some comment below discussing more about this topic, and whether or not you think this card can come back. Personally, I think, based off of this evidence, that it's not yet time for Stratos. We don't really have any confirmation as to any sign that it could come back, other than the Win Mass Hero, which again we have no confirmation that it will actually come to the TCG. Also, Konami's all about making money. They haven't released any hero support recently, so I feel like that they would actually not be able to gain a lot of money, a lot of revenue from the sale of one card, similar to how Neptibus, like, they're not getting a lot of revenue off of Neptibus because Mermails have not been reprinted in forever. So in all honesty, like, I don't really think Konami likes the fact that Mermails have made a comeback at all currently in the TCG. Just simply because, but yeah, anyway, but like that's just for another topic. But anyway, I really don't think whether we're going to be seeing Stratos come back within the next ban list, at the very least, at least until we see any confirmation of a reprint or confirmation of any other hero support in the near future. So once again, guys, leave a comment below as to your thoughts to this topic. And of course, guys, thank you for listening to the HatzChat podcast, and have a nice day.